Hey YouTube, Jacob here with Good to Go Gear, and I'm going to go over something that has been a question for everybody, and I'm not an expert on it by any means, but it's how to choose a good EDC fixed blade, okay? And then I'm going to say there's probably 3 to 4 criteria, probably 3 important ones and 1 not important one, but it matters. First, I'm going to tell you is use. What are you using it for? Are you using it as a one tool option where you don't want to carry a hatchet or something when you go hunting or camping or fishing? Then maybe you want a bigger, beefier blade. This is a Wallage Edge Tools custom knife. I had him custom make for me. It's like, I think 6.25 inches long, CPM 3V, G10 scales, 3/16 to the nth degree. A lot of people, they start with a piece of 3/16 bar stock and then grind it down so it's a little less than 3/16. This one is 3/16 to the thing based on my caliper. I have a custom, what is this, Yellow Hawk custom Kydex sheath for it. This thing has been great, right? But look how big it is. All right, now when I got this one and started carrying it, I was carrying it as a dangler on my belt. And I usually always carry my left side. It just works for me. But when you get in a car, this blade, I don't know if you can tell, but the blade actually ends here. And the sheath comes down, I guess, for the ferro rod. It extends down, so when you have an extra inch, easy, you have about an extra inch, and then it's wide. But it holds a 6-inch ferro rod, which is what I asked for, and it's custom how I wanted it. But this knife was good for hunting, camping. For fishing, it doesn't fillet fish very well because it's thick. I got this one. This is a Top Silence Hero, with another custom Yellow Hawk custom Kydex sheath. I took a thing off of a K-bar, pulled the metal clip off, and attached a piece of nylon that I sewed together to make a belt loop. Because these bigger knives, it was easier to carry with a dangler. And so this is a great sheath. It's not as wide, but it's still a pretty big knife. You know, I have the, this is a Survive Knives 5.1 CPM 3V. This one is $10.95. And my thing is though, I mean, what are you using it for? This is the Spyderco Salt, the old one in the H1 steel. It's great, never had it rust. Carry it scout carry, but the blade's still soft. So what are you using your knife for? I'm gonna say that's how do you pick a knife, is what do you use it for? This is a Bradford Guardian 4 CPM 3V. Has a cool handle and cool sheath. Look how thick the sheath is though, and I opted for this one. It came with a leather sheath. I bought the taco style, or excuse me, the pancake style sheath. This is kind of when I was newer into knives. I've had this, wow, probably about 10 years. You know, what are you using your knife for? I think that matters. Because what I've learned is there's no great one tool option. One knife saves the day, every day, works for everything you need. So pick a knife, or excuse me, decide what you're gonna use the knife for, and then get a knife for that task. And so you may only need 3 knives. Like maybe you want a big knife. I have the BK9 in my survival tote out in the garage. I have a BK7 in there in the safe because, you know, I was watching Prepared Mind 101 and I was, oh, these big knives. Everybody tells you in bushcraft, you want at least a 5 to 6 inch blade. You know, you need these big knives. And I'm gonna be honest, when I would go camping or something, and this knife is great. I love this knife. It's a super sharp edge. This is one of my favorite knives. But you go to carve with it and it's a lot of knife. Right? You know, I have 2 little kids that are usually out there with me, and it's just a lot of knife to have on you. I got this one, okay, after I'd ordered this one. I ordered this one in 2019, May, got it like August 2021, and was stupid. No, excuse me, I got it like October 2021. He posted and said, oh, hey, I'm gonna have another drop in December 2021. So like, boom, let's order another one because this one's amazing. And now he's out of business. He's got my $275, and I've never seen that knife again. So I will say big old FO to Survive Knives. It's great, very smooth. He does great, but it took me, you know, almost 2.5 years to get this one, and I've never seen my other one from 2021. It's 2025 now. So what are you using your knife for? Pick a knife for that. You may need a couple knives. You might want a big one, a medium, and then I would consider this one or this one, you know, a small knife. Go get the one I carry in my pocket. So the next thing I consider is steel, right? I bought this one when we were living in Beaumont, Texas, down by the coast. We'd go fishing. It rained a lot, had a lot of salt water in the air, and we had, you know, steel plants, you know, oil field refinery, concrete plant stuff, where the steel, just because of the humidity, the salt in the humidity, right? Because I guess the Gulf water evaporates, it's salty. That stuff rusted like crazy. So I was like, well, you know, I'm worried about rust on my knives, you know, my backpack or being on my person. So I got the Spyderco Salt. It's an H1, no rust on it at all. We went to the Spyderco factory in Denver, or Golden, Colorado, and they had one of these in a fish tank that had been there for like 10 years. Wasn't it like 10 years or something? It was a yellow one. Yeah, it had been there like 10, 15 years. Crazy. No rust on it. I think the only thing was the handle looked faded on that yellow one. So blade steel, if you live somewhere that's dry, get a CPM 3V, get an M4, get a 1095, because then you don't really have to do a ton of maintenance. This knife has been awesome. No, this is 1095. Yeah, but you can get a crew wear. My preferred is CPM 3V, because again, I was watching Survive Knives' videos, and he had, I think, just a steel blank of a 3V knife sitting out on his windowsill. He said, I ran water on it, left it out on the windowsill for a year in the snow, the rain, the wind. Now, Idaho's pretty dry, but it's still, I think when we made the video, there's still some fresh snow on the ground. And that knife had been out there for a year with no rust. There were a few little spots, but he touched it with his finger and it came right off after a year. So I was like, well, I don't know about salt water, but for just, you know, going fishing or hunting, I don't worry about it too much. I do wipe it off when I'm done using it. And when I get home, I take the handle scales off, coat everything with some oil. I wipe the blades off, and I leave the oil on underneath the handle as a kind of a rust preventative. So look at the steel. How hard is it to sharpen? CPM 3V. Some people say it's hard to sharpen. I carry one of these. I flip the blades around while I'm not using it because it rubs in that plastic bag and we're holding it. The diamond blades. But this is a, what's it called? Work Sharp field sharpener, I think. Has a ceramic leather strop. And I just touch my knives up with it after I use them a little bit. Not like immediately after I use it, but if I've used it, I just kind of, I just drop it or run it on the ceramic. I keep this in a Ziploc bag, so when it's in my backpack, one, it stays dry. And I found that like I said, I flipped the diamonds around because it was scratching the inside of my bag up. But get you steel for your environment. Get you steel for your use, right? For me, CPM 3V is one that I love. I like it better than 1095. I like it better than, I used to have one in, what's that one with my Winkler? I don't know, like 5082 or 8250, something like that. But CPM 3V hasn't really rusted on me with my limited use. I haven't used it, carried it much since I'm back down here in the coast. Mostly, I mean, I was carrying it, but when it rained, I'd have to come in and wipe it off. And so get you steel that, you know, is good for wet environments. If you're in a wet environment, dry, you know, environment, you pretty much can have whatever you want as long as you maintain it. How long does it hold an edge? You know, how good are you with sharpening? I don't like to use the Work Sharp belt grinder. I use it for like my kitchen knives or my axes or my machetes for like a quick sharpen on big things, or like lots of knives, like bulk knives for my kitchen knives. But it removes a lot of steel, like real quick, if you're not careful. And so on my high-end expensive knives, I prefer to use a stone and ceramic. I have an old whetstone and then some ceramic rods I've had since I was, 17 years old. Matter of fact, they're sitting right here, the rods on. So here's my ceramic. I've used these for years. You got kind of a coarse and then fine. And when I'm done with this, man, you can shave your arm with it. This is one of my whetstones. This one my mom gave me. She found it in her dad's garage about 5-6 years ago, when her mother passed, my grandmother, back during COVID. she cleaned out the house, and that was one, I guess, of her grandpa's. I just started using it because it's kind of sentimental. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I use to sharpen my knives. So corrosion resistance. H1 is great. Won't rust. I think I read from Spider's website, it's impossible. Doesn't hold an edge super well, right? Never really gets truly, I don't think I've ever been able to shave with it. I have run this one with the honing belt on the work sharp, and I just cannot get this one to shave my arm here. I don't know what the deal is, but I just can't get this one sharp like I'm used to carrying it. The third thing I look for is ergonomics. How does it feel in your hand, right? This Spyderco, man, it feels great, right? You get a little bit of a guard here. You get a good palm swell. It's not swollen this way, but just the way this looks, super ergonomic, right? My Mike Wallace or Wallace Edge Tools, again, he did a great job. This is custom, so you know, custom all of it. But he's got a grip here, and then right here, he's one of the few people, the only knife I think I own, that has a finger tool here, and he rounded the edges. Like these are, it feels like a piece of round bar stock. It is amazing. And this knife, the way it swells out down here, it's very comfortable. I like having these guards here because, you know, I look at like some of what the pioneers, the cowboys, the knights, you know, what all their knives back in the day, I can't say all of them, but a lot of them, the ones that actually got used had like a finger guard, right? Like, I don't remember what those are called, a bolster maybe, but it had this stuff to keep your hand from riding up on the blade. And if you are ever in a survival situation, which let's hope you're not in a bad one or anything besides just a self-created one for, you know, fun, you get tired, you get lazy, you don't think straight, and the last thing you want to do is be using it for something or have your hand slide up on the blade. So I like to have kind of a finger guard. I like having a thumb ramp for the same reason, so I can kind of push on it. This one, you know, if you choke up, it kind of fits perfectly in my hand right here. So I mean, it's very ergonomic, and you'll kind of see that's the theme with most of my knives. You have a little bit of a finger guard. I even like the thumb ramp. It started with this one, to be honest with you. This was the first one, the first big one I got that had kind of the finger guard. I have lots of other knives, but it started with this one. And it has a little bit of a thumb ramp. And yeah, that's what works for me. What works for you is what works for you. As my evolution kind of got going, this is one I got back in like 2015, maybe 2016, 2017. And I started carrying it, you know, dangler style. And I got this one, you know, same thing, started carrying it dangler style. But then you'll notice as I have evolved through the knives, they went from being big behemoths. I used to try to scout carry some of these, and I just went back to the danglers because these are huge. So I went smaller. This is a Hinder CPM 3V, very ergonomic. This one was super. I love this knife. I'm only not carrying it down here because of the salt, but I love this knife. I started carrying it scout style on my belt. I carry it usually on my front left side. This one I switched to front right so I could get it out with this one. But I'm mostly right-handed. I can still pull it out, you know, back reverse grip right-handed, but I'm right-handed, so I don't want people to be as threatened by carrying a fixed blade. So sometimes I switch to either side. I think these two I switched to be carried on my right side. Yeah, both of these. This is a Phobos Alaris. Look at this. Look at that handle. See that palm swell, the grooves. I like having something that gives me a little bit of a, you know, kind of keeps your hand from slipping down, from slipping out. I like a lanyard hole. I prefer lanyard holes. Most of them have it. Some of my newer ones, one of them doesn't. So I think it might be the only fixed blade I have that doesn't. Yeah, this is CPM 3V. I've had some knives rust where the etched logos are. And it was true. It was a Benchmade. It's a Benchmade AFO2. And the butterfly, after getting snowed and stuff, I got snowed on and just, I guess, body heat and sweat in Colorado at that 154 CM, it rusted. So I took a little Dremel, kind of polished it out of it, put some of my wife's clear, actually sitting right here on my desk, some clear fingernail polish that she had, and that's now mine, stays on my desk, and I coat my my knives with it anywhere that they have an etch, because that gets into the grain of the steel. And it's just for peace of mind. I don't have to worry about it rusting. But as you can see, my point, very ergonomic, very comfortable, and a little smaller, right? The blades are a little smaller than my other ones. Okay, these are two of my favorite knives. The handles, roughly the same as far as grip wise, you know, if you go like that. Because this one, the usable grip down here with that, where it kind of pushes your hand in place, is about the same as this Wallet's Edge tools. The blades, if you line the blades up, what is that? About an inch, 3/4 of an inch difference. So I started going a little smaller, a little easier to conceal. And by that, I mean, like if I wear a jacket or I don't tuck my shirt in, it doesn't stick out. This you can't conceal really. This one, if you untuck your shirt, you can conceal it. This came with a beautiful Amish-made leather sheath. And that's something else to consider. What kind of sheath do you want? You'll notice all mine are Kydex. I have leather sheaths for this one, this one, this one. Like I have leather sheaths for a lot of them, but I go with Kydex because for water and humidity, that leather will mold and get wet. In the South, it's very wet and humid. If you live down here, you know what I'm speaking about. If you don't, you know, lucky you. But I got this one living in Colorado, 3V. That's the Phobos Alaris. But this one's wide. I would take it when we would go camping to do some food prep and, you know, minimal fire starting, like splitting some firewood. But I also carried a hatchet. And so, you know, I didn't really need it to be an axe. It was better for my food prep. It's 3V, but again, I would just drop it afterward. It's something to do while you're sitting by the fire, that little handy thing. And then I started going down to, you know, like a Bradford Guardian 4, I believe. But again, the sheath, I have a leather sheath for it, but I don't like leather. It doesn't retain it. And if you get it wet, it just holds the moisture. Whereas this, you know, they have drain holes, it'll dry. This one is pretty ergonomic. I got their cool grid pattern. You can see it looks almost different because of how he does it. It's just Kydex, different layers. This one, he didn't go quite through the green to get to the black, which is cool. This one looks cool, but it's different on both sides. Yeah, it's a cool knife, but I don't really ever use it. Mostly because I don't care for the sheath. And truthfully, it's not super comfortable. I don't have much of a choil, right? And right here, this is thin, excuse me, not a choil, but not much of like a finger guard. And again, you start pushing down on the stick or something trying to cut, the choil goes right to the edge of the blade, right? So I mean, that's blade. And I didn't cut myself bad, but you just kind of nick your finger messing with it. So I was like, all right, that one kind of got retired. I got the Bradford Guardian 4.5. It's in my hiking backpack right over here. But as you see, I start going smaller. Then I went to, this is a half-face blades. I think it's the Disaster Breacher. This is a great knife, super comfy, but check this out. Look how thin that is. You wear that, as you can see, I got the belt loops. You wear it scout style on your belt. You don't even really notice that it's there. I will say this one having a full handle and this little extra piece, which I like for if you have to crack, you know, hickory nuts or anything. Walnuts open out here. We're mostly hickory nuts or pecans. You can hit it and crack it. And it doesn't damage your handle scales. But look how thin that is. You wear this, you don't even notice it. But because it's got a longer, heavier handle, I had to move the belt loop to the end. I had it back a little bit. You might see some wear on that where the screw was. I had it back a little bit and it would just kind of pull down. So I put it here to kind of compensate. It wasn't like, oh my God, pulling down, like pointing to the ground, but it just kind of angled down a little bit. So I moved it as far as I could to the edge. And what that does is allows me to get to it on my left side. I can pull it out reverse left-handed, or this, you know, like I said, I'm right-handed. I mostly get it on my left side and pull it out right-handed, so I'm ready to work with it. But this knife is awesome. I got it in 3V. I think they come in CPM 45VN or 45N, CPM 45N, whatever. I prefer 3V. But again, now that I'm down here in the Gulf Coast area where we have a lot of salt water, when we go fishing down in the Gulf, it's very humid. I don't want to worry about it rusting. I don't want to have to use it and cut fish bait or whatever and come home and have to take I guess I don't have to, but I take the scales off, oil everything, wipe it down, put the scales back on. I don't want to have to mess with that. This one, you think it might be uncomfortable with the finger grooves, with the ergonomics, but man, my fingers and my hand just falls like it's made for it. It's super comfy. And these grooves, it's crazy how we carved them, but it's, or, you know, sculpted them, I guess. but they just fall right in line with, for my hand, this thing is, and I like it so much I bought a second one. That one has a cool camo pattern on it. But that kind of goes into the fourth thing. This one's not a necessity, but the fourth thing is like wow factor, right? Does it speak to you? Does it speak your language? Does it say, man, that is a sexy knife? After I went from this one, because this one and that camouflage version is a sexy knife. Like, all of these knives to me speak to me a little bit, right? This knife is just sexy. You know, it looks good. It feels good. My Hinder, I think this is the Ranch Bowie. Love this knife, right? Man, it feels good in the hand. It's super comfy. You get a good, I mean, it's comfortable to use. Hold it like this. If you choke up, it does go straight to the edge. I haven't cut myself with it, but I primarily find myself using it back here. I don't really, everybody on the bushcraft side wants to choke up, but how often do we bushcraft? I mean, I'm almost 40 years old. I don't really bushcraft unless I'm doing it for fun. You know, I'm not ever in a need where it's like, oh, I need to have a good bushcraft knife. I need it for cutting boxes, mostly food prep. We go camping a lot and hunting, food prep, stuff like that. I don't need a good bushcraft knife. But is this knife capable of bushcraft? Are all of these knives capable of bushcraft? Absolutely. I'd say this one's probably the best one on the table for bushcraft. Very rounded, very soft edges. Long enough if you want to baton with it, but I've batoned with this one. Hell, I've even batoned, this is my son's knife. We batoned with this one. This is the Primitive Bear knives. I think it's the Hunter's EDC and Magna Cut. But we saw this. We actually ordered this one from YouTube from, what was it, Prepared Mind 101. It came with this sheath. And my son and I made this sheath for it. We just took some old belt loops off of one of these knives and put on here for him, and just had some grip tape for my ARs that, you know, this is just left over from wrapping up one of my, I think, lights on my AR, and he put it on here. He thinks it looks cool, and it does. And it speaks to him. You know, this has that wow factor for him. We saw it. It's small. It has beautiful bolsters, you know, down here with some G10. As you can see, it was kind of shiny, so we took the handle scales off, and we actually spray painted it kind of camo, multi-cam looking on the handle, and we wrapped the blade because he liked the blade being silver, but when we had it in the sheath, he didn't like that part was so shiny. So we just spray painted it, you know, but it speaks to my 11-year-old son, and he likes this sheath. He and I got to make this together. Super simple, has, you know, pretty good retention, and it's something that he and I made together, and he loves it. It speaks to him, has his wow factor, and he loves this knife. He only carries it when he's with me, because he's 11. He loves it. We go hunting, fishing, camping, sometimes just shopping, and he loves it, you know. And this to me, I think it's probably a better sheath. It has a great thumb ramp where I'm not sure how to do that, so we kind of rolled it down a little bit where it's comfortable, and he's able to push it out. It has good retention, but this speaks to him, and truthfully, I think it looks cool. And that's the thing. When you're picking a fixed blade, get one that is going to be, you know, what you want to use it for. If you want to carry it every day, as you see, my everyday carry revolved down to like this. This one we got, it kind of matched his. The liners, the handles, everything kind of matched. That way he has a him and his, you know, his and his knife, like father-son knife. And it's cool. This is a custom NKT. It's Magna Cut. His knife is Magna Cut. We were just making fires with it last weekend out in the backyard, teaching him and my daughter, my son and my daughter, how to make fires and carve feather sticks and start it with a ferro rod. When we go hunting, I like to carry this one. And truthfully, I carry this one with an ulti-clip front left pocket. I just clip it on, handle sticks out, super easy to get to, super comfy. But as you can see, my everyday carry knives, where I carry a fixed blade every day, went from big behemoths that were super uncomfortable, where I'd sometimes left them at home, I didn't want to carry it, to, you know, medium behemoths that were more comfortable, but still sometimes I was like, I don't feel like wearing it today, to now, truthfully, my EDC. So truthfully, now my EDC is this. This is a Compliance Edge Tools, or Compliance Edge Knives. I don't know, some kind of a dagger. I was on Facebook and saw a I'd never heard of them. They had another one that had like the Mandalorian logo on it. Somebody's selling it privately on Facebook on like Great Edge Knives or some kind of Facebook page I'm a part of. And I was like, what? And I went to get it, but he'd already sold it. And I was like, dang. So I looked up the website and I found this one, and I was like, man, that one didn't have much of a finger choil, but for just what I was looking for was, I started with this knife. I started carrying it in my pocket about a year ago or less, 8 months ago. And then we actually went on vacation to Oregon. We got a Benchmade Acadian, I think is what it's called. Bought it from the Benchmade place, the Benchmade store in Oregon City, Oregon. You could watch them where they did the laser engraving on it. There's something else on the other side that's got a nickname on it. The sheath does go on. It's ambi. You can put it on either direction. And so what I was doing was I was kind of carrying this one or this one. This pocket sheath is very narrow. It fits. The clip is garbage. It doesn't hook onto your pants. Like if you wear down here, wear like swimsuits a lot. It's just kind of everyday carry shorts because they're lightweight. It's hot. Or basketball shorts or cargo shorts. And it's kind of like a DCC clip. But this thing, you put it in your pocket and clip it on, it pulls right out. Blue jeans, I think it'll kind of stay, but mostly the sheath comes out with the blade on it. I was looking for something kind of like that, but even this knife has a good finger guard, right? My hand's not gonna ride up on the blade. It's narrow, it's small, takes up no room in my front pocket. This one, it's kind of tactical, which I'm not a huge fan of. This is a false edge. I mean, I could probably sharpen that, get it sharp. This is also magna cut, so I don't have to worry about the rust or corrosion on it. But this is still sharp enough. I guess if I needed to, strike a ferro rod on the back. It has a good guard on it. And I like that this kind of forces my hand, into the grip. It has good jimping here. It looks aggressive, but it's all very well rounded. Kind of like my Wallet's Edge tools. And it speaks to me like, wow, that's a good looking knife. I worry that it looks a little too tactical. I put the ulti-clip on it, but it stuck up too high. And if I stuck the ulti-clip up higher, then the ulti-clip was in my way for getting it out of my pocket. Also, I don't remember what this is called, but man, I could tell you 6 months ago, I could have told you when I got it. But it makes it easy for grabbing it out of your pocket. I carry this in my front left pocket. And what I do is I have this paracord tied to the bottom of the sheath. And what I find the easiest thing to do is I take this, wrap it around my belt, like this, I guess. Wrap it around my belt, stick the knife through it, pull it tight, and then stick it in my pocket. And as I put it in my pocket, I put the paracord like that, stick it against the back side of my pocket, and about that much of the blade sticks out, and you see a little bit of paracord to my belt. And I have this right behind a belt loop, so as I pull it out, the rope comes out, and it comes out forward, and it pulls out of the sheath. And then the crappy part is the sheath just dangles. But I just use my left, I put it in my right hand, my left hand just goes and puts it back in my pocket. And I find that to be a very ergonomic, very economical way to carry. So for me right now, this is a great EDC fixed blade. I can use it for, it's magna cut, I don't have to wear it rusting. I can use it for cutting bait down at the docks. I can use it for, truthfully, I use it mostly for cutting sandwiches or just kind of everyday stuff. I haven't used it for carving or anything. I do have enough of a material here that where my thumb is, it's not going to be cutting on that. I mean, again, this is not sharp, but I don't think that would be comfortable for gripping down and like pushing down on for carving wood. But you do have enough jimping and stuff here. You can push down and get some force behind it if I needed to. But just for everyday carry, it's nice. And my biggest thing I like about it, the two, is I have this finger guard, and look at how thin and low profile it is. You put that, I mean, that's even, I think, I'm going to say this, let's see. Well, I guess it's not. I was going to say, I think it's thinner than the Benchmade. If you line them up, about the same. But this gives me this one I have this lanyard on here for pulling it out of my pocket, and kind of grabbing it. I like this better, where it has that hook for when I grab it, I can just rip it out of my pocket. And for me, the use, I'm gonna use it for just everyday carry, cutting sandwiches. I think I should use this one to cut some gum out of my daughter's hair a few months ago. I love her to death. She's 9, she talks and chews gum, and she's got hair down to, I don't know, almost probably the top of her bottom. And she got gum in her hair. Luckily, it was only in her hair about that much, and I just had to cut a thin little strip because we couldn't, I couldn't get out and I just cut her hair. You couldn't even notice. But I keep it sharp, to cut it out. And so right now, my 3 EDC blades are these. Pretty small, magna cut, so I don't have to worry about it. So for use, just everyday carry. This one's more if I go hunting with my son, I carry this one. If we go fishing, truthfully, if I remember, I take this one out and carry this one, or this one. If we are just everyday, like right now, it's this one, mostly because I like the finger thing here for pulling it out of my pocket. I like it's got a good deep finger guard, but truthfully, so does this Benchmade. This is great. It's got a good finger guard. I got to personalize it. And how cool is it that we got a knife from the Benchmade store in Oregon City? And then this one it looks more like kind of a traditional hunting knife. It has a decent finger guard there, and it also has kind of like a bird beak down here for locking your hand in. And again, it's got like a nice little ramp. It looks, I think they call it like a harpoon style or something, but it gives you a nice little ramp that's nice and thick. No jimping, but it's super comfortable for using. Again, I'm mostly just carving feather sticks just for fun with my son, cutting our sandwiches up, opening the bag of freeze-dried food if we're using that. We've used it to cut fish down at the dock for cut bait. I've done that with these two. I haven't really done that with this one. I don't think I have yet. Because when I know I'm doing something, what I'm using it for, I switch these two. But for me, the blade steel, Magna Cut, hands down. Down here, when I move back to Colorado or Texas or somewhere a little more dry, I'll probably rotate more through some of these to get that 3V back in rotation. Ergonomics, these are all super comfortable. You know, I don't plan on using a knife for hours, but if I had to, these two would probably be more comfortable than this one for hours. But this one's not bad. I do worry because that's kind of aggressive. I wonder if it might, you know, I haven't carved with this one. You know, worry how that would do maybe. And then mostly is wow factor. You know, all of these knives on the table speak to it. I first saw this Alara's and got it just because I was like, that's a cool looking knife. It looks almost like a cleaver. I got it specifically for when we were camping and stuff in Colorado and used it, loved it. My wife thought I was nuts. You know, she said, you can buy a cleaver at Walmart for a lot cheaper than what you paid for that. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a cool knife. I carry it on me. That is just, wow. It's just a cool knife. And she thinks I'm crazy, but she supports me and, you know, says, well, at least you're doing and learning stuff that's, you know, useful. So get a knife that you're going to use it for the proper task. Get a good blade steel for whatever you're using it for. Make sure it's ergonomic and feels good in your hand. And then make sure it's got that wow factor. And then number two, maybe don't get into knives because as you can see, this is not even all of my collection. This is just some of my collection. But all these knives speak to me and it's the hobby and it's a collection. You know, don't get into knives because it'll be an expensive hobby. But anyway, this is Jacob with To Go Gear, giving you my thoughts on how to choose a good everyday carry fix.